It's 6 o'clock. I'm bringing the meeting to order. Val, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have several minutes. Is there a desire of the board to take them one at a time, or can we approve them as a group? And if so, can I have a motion? Okay, do you want to do one at a time, or is there a motion to approve all at once, or actually you can't? Ooh. Were you at every meeting?
I think I was.
Okay.
Well, why don't we? I don't believe you can do them tonight.
We got one that's,
John was here and Brian wasn't, and
yeah, we got a,
the April 23rd notes.
the May 3rd notes who can't.
No.
Well, you want to do them one at a time, see if we can?
We do the April 23rd minutes, correct? I move we accept the April 23rd select board work session minutes and the regular meeting minutes.
Second?
All those in favor?
And non-public.
Okay, and the second, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nice to have it, the minutes are accepted. I guess we'll do the other minutes at our next meeting. Announcements. The select board will meet on the following dates. We'll have a regular meeting on Tuesday, May 29th at 6 p.m. Work sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. PSU is holding 4 graduations at the Allwell facility this spring as follows. PSU the graduate school graduation is May 17th at 7 p.m. The undergrad graduation is May 19th at 10 a.m. Plymouth Regional High School graduation is June 2nd at 10 a.m. And the Granite State College graduation is June 10th at 10 a.m. Traffic will be restricted and extremely heavy in the downtown area during these events. Town offices will be closed on Monday, May 28th in observance of Memorial Day. The Plymouth Memorial Day Parade will be held at 10:30 a.m. and the lineup begins at 10 a.m. in the Armory for those participants. All of the above meetings will be held in the town hall unless otherwise posted, and citizens wishing to be listed on the select board's agenda should notify the town hall before 12 p.m. the Friday before the scheduled meeting. And as in the past, new members are needed to fill the zoning board. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Selectboard at their office on 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire. New purchase orders. Joe, you want to approach the microphone? Hey, Joe. Hey.
So we put Highland Street out to bid. We had 3 bids on it. Michael Tulip, Dana White, and R.M. Piper. And the Tulip was the lowest bidder. I've done work with him before, and so is Mike McNally, so we're comfortable with him doing the work. We're going to have him do the work.
Okay. Can you tell us the an approximate range of the bids? And
Yep, so Michael Tulip was $215,210. Dana White was $394,618. R.M. Piper was $302,945.
it's quite a range, and it's
Yeah.
extremely low price for phase 2. So,
Yep.
is Is there any discussion from the board, or is there a motion?
Just want to mention that going to be starting right after school lets out, right?
Correct. We're gonna wait till school gets out. And Mike said he had a projection of July. And there's I think it's September that it has to be done, so there's this, so he's gonna start when school gets out, and it should be done in September.
Before it starts again.
He's only looking at, like, he said, like 3 weeks. So, but the downfall is we gotta actually shut Highland Street down at times.
Okay.
Not completely, but at times we'll have to shut it down. But
Is it going to be like fairgrounds where, sometimes they'll leave a lane open and sometimes they'll have to close it down, or when they?
yeah,
that
but
work
for
out?
the most part, during like 7 to 5 during the day, he'll have it closed, because you're pulling the concrete out, so you gotta have one lane to sit in to load out, and
Yeah,
another
right.
lane for the truck, so once the concrete's out and they start putting the gravel down, then they'll have probably 2 lanes. So
So there will be a time with both lanes.
there will be times when it'll be closed and times when it will be open, but they're gonna do traffic control, and they will have everything, they'll have signs up.
So if you normally commute through town, well, I guess it's still to be determined, the traffic patterns and stuff, but I guess we'll figure it out.
Well, I think everybody's going to appreciate it getting done.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we spoke to the fire department and the police department, and they basically said, do what you have to do, and just keep us posted.
Very good.
So, it's up to Mike Latulip to work with the people that live within that stretch. They'll take care of that. So, tomorrow I'll call and make sure if it needs to be posted, whether he does it or it gets done.
And the rest of the money remaining in that line will be used on Highland Street. So we'll find other areas to repair. But it will be Highland Street and only Highland Street that money will be used for.
So is there a motion?
Move that we accept the bid from Mike Latulip Construction in the amount of $215,310 to complete Phase 2 project on Highland Street.
Is there a second?
second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.
Geez,
Joe.
I could hear a yay outside right now.
I know.
All right.
The next purchase order from Stan Tech, that's our annual
Yep.
testing of the landfill. That's already been voted on at March meeting.
So, yeah, what's the
$6,500.
$6,500 for landfill monitoring?
Yeah.
This,
I move, need a motion?
sure.
Yeah. I move that we accept the landfill monitoring consulting in the amount of $6,500.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
There it is,
Aye.
Bill.
This is-
Oh, well, we have a signature line right here, too.
He's got it.
I'll do this one. And next we have an update and recommendation of the contribution assurance program agreement with Primax for property liability insurance. Let's see, you wanna?
Good evening.
Hey, Miss, good evening.
Hi. So I think you have copies of the agreement that was sent to us by Primax, right? Okay. So, and I have the originals here for signatures if you decide to go ahead with it. This is something we've done a couple of other times. Primax is the risk pool through which we get both of our workers' compensation insurance and our property liability insurance. We've only had the property liability insurance through them since July of 2016. We used to have it through PLT, Property Liability Trust, which was part of the whole LGC, Local Government Center debacle, and they eventually went under, and so we've switched over to Primax. Primax is the only other risk pool within the state that offers property and liability insurance. Otherwise, we would have to go outside to commercial lines carriers to secure the property liability insurance. So we've started with Primax to see how that goes, but we've only had the coverage with them since July of 2016, so less than 2 years at this point, so we don't have very much of a record to go by in terms of how it's working out in this point in terms of costs and so forth. But this program, the CAP program, offers us a limit on the amount of increases that we would have over the next 3 years. So we've done this with our workers' compensation insurance through Primax, and we did it initially through them for the first 2 years. So this particular agreement would start July of 2019, a year from now, and go through June 2022. So those 3 years would be covered under this agreement if you do it. And it would guarantee us a maximum increase of 7%. Right now, the initial cap that we have on it is 9%, so they've dropped us down a couple percentage points. And it's based on the previous year's contribution or premium that we would have paid. You're not required to do this in order to renew through them, but if you don't do it, you don't have any guarantees regarding the maximum that your premium can go up. This past year, well, we had an increase for July of 2018, so our upcoming year, our increase was 0.3%. So we were low, but the year prior to that, we had 3.4%. So there is a big variation in what we can see in terms of increases. But again, those are the only 2 years we have to look at at this point, so it's not very much experience to go by. We do have a cap currently with the workers' comp insurance that goes through 2020, December 2020, because that insurance renews on a January through December schedule. That cap is at 8% right now. So basically, if this is something, the trade-off in it is that you get the guarantee of the maximum increase in trade-off for agreeing to stay with Primax for that 3-year period. So that's the trade-off. You lock into 3 years to get that guarantee of no more than 7% increase. And if you go ahead and do it, there are 2 documents here that you would need to sign. There's a contribution assurance program agreement, and then there's a resolution that you would have to read into the record or state that you're entering into the record, and the chair of the board would have to sign that one to go in. And we'd have to have that one, I think we have to have that one notarized, I think, don't we? I think Karen usually does it the following, usually have her do it tomorrow, the next day when we've done these. She usually goes ahead and attests to this based on the record of this meeting. So the only other part that I would point out to you is that on the last paragraph of page 1, where it talks about the, my copy in front of me, where it talks about the that we acknowledge by extending the membership agreement for 3 years. You're suspending a section of the agreement that we signed to be members of Primax. It's suspended during year 1 and year 2 of the 3-year term, because we're forfeiting our right to cancel or terminate during those years. And then it would be reinstated for the end of year 3. So, just so you're aware that that's what you're agreeing to. 'Cause that's the core of what this is. So, and that's pretty much it. The main points that we see in favor of sticking with this at this point is Primax, again, is the only risk pool. One of their selling points is that they say that if you go with a commercial lines carrier and have regular commercial insurance, that the town would then be insured and would lose its immunity from liability, which we currently have. It protects us against a lot of lawsuits and liability. If we go with a commercial lines carrier, then we are not covered under a risk pool. And according to Primax, and I don't think we put this through legal counsel or anything, but the idea is that they think statutorily we would lose our risk, our immunity for liability. And they also offer a lot in the way of trainings and legal. They have established in the last year or so. They used to offer consultations for HR issues and so forth, and they've bumped that up a little bit for legal and HR services. So they have their staff counsel that you can run questions and so forth by if you have issues you want to. Saves us a little bit on legal fees to run things through them before going to council. So those are those. The other thing is that technically we could see returns of surplus from Primax, like we did from Health Trust and LGC. Primax was part of that whole returns of surplus that happened through the Secretary of State when that was all being litigated. They did theirs a little bit differently, and we haven't seen, they used to do it as a credit against your bill, but we haven't seen any returns of surplus since 2015, and I think now that that lawsuit is over, it's less likely that we're going to see any kinds of returns of surplus, but that possibility is there because it's a risk pool as opposed to an insurance company. So I did call them today to find out if they were anticipating any returns of surplus, and they said no, they felt like they were running right on where they should be in terms of their reserves and so forth, so they were not returning any surpluses at this point, at least not this year. So. Anybody have any questions? I'll be glad to.
Not me.
We'll be doing this again probably in not too long for the workers' comp, but they do it in 3-year increments.
Any,
There is that resolution that you have there. This would be, I'll give you the originals if you want for signature, but obviously you have to do your motions and so forth. But
Sure.
these are the 2 documents. There's the resolution, and then this is the actual
Signature.
agreement that you have copies of these in front of you. So.
Okay, so I guess we're looking for a motion for approval of this, also to have me the signatory, and then also to have me read the resolution. You can say so moved. You think that's okay?
This is so moved, it's fine.
Yeah, sure. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so do you want me to read the resolution
I don't know
first?
if you, do they actually have to read it out, or do they just say that we enter it into the, I can't remember what we've done the last few times. It's not very long, you can
Yeah, I
read
can
it.
do it in 10 seconds, oh, 15 maybe. Start the clock. Resolved to hereby accept the offer of the New Hampshire Public Risk Assessment Management Exchange Primax to enter into this property and liability contribution assurance program as of the date and adoption of this resolution, and to be contractually bound to all the terms and conditions of Primax Risk Management Pool membership during the term of the Property and Liability Contribution Assurance Program, CAP. The coverage provided by Primax in each year, the membership shall be as then set forth in the coverage documents of Primax. I attest that the foregoing is a true copy of the resolution of the governing body of Town of Plymouth adopted on this date. That was more than 15 seconds, but
It's pretty good.
They said they would be setting the rates, because this period is for a year from now, not for this July. It's for 2019, so they'll be setting the rates for that period, they said probably in August, which is why they wanted us to get this signed ahead of time, because we have to do it before we know what our rates are.
can I assume that the other lines will just be typed, or someone's going to type them in, or you want me to print them, or
Where,
the board, title of the board, name,
oh, I can
title,
print those in for you.
and that one as well.
We can print that in. Okay,
Very good.
thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Thank you, Misty. All right. Okay, so, what's with that? What's the leasing?
That's the lease agreement for the, what is it, the,
Oh,
crying out, the sidewalk plow that
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
while back you were named signatory on the lease, and you signed the other documents, but this resolution has to be read on the air, and Val and Brian will have to sign below.
okay.
We have to, we have to vote to approve the resolution.
Or did we, yeah, do we need to approve?
You
We already
approved,
that.
yeah, you approved
Yeah.
the whole thing
Lease.
before. But, so this is the financial part of it? So this is the
Is there a motion needed to have me read the resolution?
Yeah.
So that I, okay.
You
I
already
need to read
approved
it.
it, but it needs to be read.
Okay, be resolved by the governing body of leasee as follows. Determination of need. It's number one. The governing body of leasee is determined that a true and very real need exists for the acquisition of the equipment described on Exhibit A of Schedule Number 02, dated as of May 1st, 2018, to the master lease purchase agreement dated as of January 18th, 2017, between Town of Plymouth Leasee and Tax Exempt Leasing Corp. Lesser. Approval and Number two, approval and authorization. The governing body of leasee has determined that the agreement and the schedule substantially in the form presented to this meeting are in the best interest of the leasee for the acquisition of such equipment, and the governing body hereby approves the entering into the agreement and schedule by the leasee, and hereby designates and authorizes the following person to execute and deliver the agreement and schedule on leasee's behalf, with such changes thereto as such persons deem appropriate, and any related documents, including any escrow agreement necessary to the consummation of the transaction contemplated by the agreement and schedule. Authorized individual, William Bolton, Select Board Chair. In addition to the authorized individual above, the governing body of leasee further authorizes the following individual to sign any payment request and partial acceptance certificate form and/or final acceptance certificate. Authorized individual, William Bolton, Select Board Chair. Number three, adoption of resolution. The signatures below from the designated individuals from the governing body of the leasee evidence the adoption by the governing body of this resolution. And signature of Secretary Board Chair. Type name attested by 2 members' signatures.
The board chair actually doesn't, because you're the authorized individual, you weren't supposed to sign number 3. Either Val or Brian is, and then attested would be either Val or Brian. We have to have 2 different signatures below.
So I shall cross out my name, William R. Bolton.
Is this, are these all, you know what? This looks just as much like an original as that.
Yeah, but I think it's just a very nice copy.
Yeah.
It is a very nice copy.
So do you want us to print our names in, or do you want to just,
I can do it if you want.
Actually, do you want me to take one of the copies and not sign that line? Is that what Val was getting
that's
at?
what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's fine, because I just have to scan it to him after it's signed.
Yeah.
Can we have PBTV strike that last 5 minutes so we don't see me sign it?
We're all imperfect.
True.
Do you have a signed copy? Signed here. And then
Okay. Are there any committee reports?
I have none.
Okay. I think we will mention the fact that we did have a subcommittee with the Plymouth Village Water and Sewer Commission. And we disbanded that subcommittee. And we thought it would be far more expeditious and appropriate for the water and sewer themselves to approach our board. And specifically because there was an issue at hand, which was the repaving of Foster Street. And, you know, it's still an unfinished issue. But we did receive correspondence, excuse me, from Jason Randall of Water and Sewer, and what they did do was extend, well, initially DOT was indicating that they wanted that project completed by the end of May. And that was not going to happen, and we still are, concerned about how the engineers of their project were going to finish the road in opposition to our highway manager. So we still have time to discuss that, and we do thank them for, putting the date till August, whenever, 2nd?
First, I believe.
August 1st. So, again, thanks to them, and also an invitation to approach the board so that we can talk further about it and resolve any issues. And we, feel that they have to come before the governing body to, address these outstanding issues. So, are there any other comments, or? Therefore, is there a motion?
So moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.